All right, good morning. I have 9:02 on my end, so we are going to dive right in. Thank you all for joining us today for the Engaging Faculty webinar. I understand that some individuals or some institutions are looking to branch out in the area of increasing their interactions with faculty, supporting faculty, and becoming more engaged in the work of student affairs and supporting the basic needs of students. And so I'm hopeful that our conversations and our dialogue will foster ideas being birthed and just some additional aha moments that you might have not come across just yet regarding engaging with faculty. My name is Precious Miller. I am the coordinator of My Best, and it is a pleasure to be with you all this morning. I would love to encourage some conversation amongst you all in the chat. If you wouldn't mind just dropping in your position and what it is that you do at your institution, or perhaps you would like to share something you're looking forward to this spring or this summer. So you can go ahead and begin to pop those in the chat as I go through some information regarding the Center for Student Success. First, beginning with my amazing colleagues, Jenny Shanker, Erica Oriens, and Katie Giardello. I could not do this work without them. It truly does take a team to support all the institutions with quality, with care, and with on-time support. And so we do this all together, and I'm so thankful and appreciative for my colleagues. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I see some comments coming through the chat. Keep them coming. Today's goal, I know you all are sitting on the edge of your seat just looking to understand what today's goal is. And I did my best to summarize two main things that I'm hoping for all of you to take away from our conversations today. And that is giving everyone the opportunity to share strategies with one another, and for myself to also share strategies with you all regarding engaging faculty in student success efforts. I am also hoping that you all would be able to identify better ways to communicate my best efforts with all institutional members. So though we will have a pointed focus on interacting and connecting with faculty, I believe that the information and resources that are shared today would support communicating my best in all student success efforts with every member at your institution, because it takes an entire institution to truly impact the full student experience. So engagement, if this is your first webinar with me, I love and enjoy and thrive off of engagement. I am so, I miss in-person convening so much. But in a digital environment, I find that we still have an opportunity to engage and connect with one another. And so I encourage engagement and dialogue. And I would hope that everyone would feel comfortable renaming themselves and sharing the name of your institution in abbreviated format, so individuals can understand what institution you are from when you feel comfortable sharing strategies that have worked with you, or if you have any questions you might want to share with myself, my colleagues, and other individuals who are joining us today. All right, so talking about faculty engagement and how we can unify academic affairs and student affairs can come with a lot of murky information, murky waters. It can be something that is challenging to walk through because silos can be deep rooted in some instances. And so I felt that it would be best for us to begin our conversations about faculty with doing a Mentimeter and doing polls and having open-ended questions in that format. So on this slide, you will see a black and white icon. You can use your phone and open up the camera to take a picture, and it should bring you to the website for the Mentimeter. Now, if you have your laptop or another device and you want to go to the website on your phone, you can go to menti.com, and the code is 71691374. You should be able to access the Menti poll that way. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and actually navigate to the poll so that we can all see that together. Okay. So, beginning our conversation with faculty, I felt that it would be great to just celebrate the great things that faculty are doing well and the ways in which they are going above and beyond for students, because we know and can identify ways in which faculty are already great advocates. This webinar is about highlighting the great things that faculty are already doing, but also identifying ways in which we can further support additional faculty with joining us and supporting student success efforts. So I see some things coming through the poll. This is great. Some ways in which you've seen faculty go above and beyond for students is virtual office hours. Yes, that's amazing. Phone calls, outside classroom support and tutoring, lending textbooks. Okay, flexible with due dates. Yes, because we are still in a global pandemic and life can be challenging and hard. And so I appreciate the flexibility that you all are highlighting that your faculty have with your students. Additional academic support beyond the classroom. Yeah, if the person who made that comment, if you wouldn't mind adding in the chat what that might look like and ways in which they have supported students outside of the classroom, is that connecting them with tutors, connecting them with community resources? I'd love to know a little more. Walk alongside them to ask for resources when the students feel uncomfortable asking for help. I really appreciate that because we know that sometimes asking for help can be a vulnerable space for some students and also for some of us. Asking for help can be a bit challenging. And so to walk alongside a student as they're asking for help, I would imagine is really validating and really comforting, and also fosters a lot of support. Those of you who are engaging with us on Twitter, where we had a conversation yesterday on Twitter about ending CC stigma, and fostering relationships is one thing that I especially value about community colleges, because professors have an opportunity to do as you described, walk alongside students and really further support students and that camaraderie that can take place at a community college. Our faculty have pivoted fast to the pandemic and have been very understanding and flexible with due dates and assignments. Great. These are all great. Thank you so much for highlighting what your faculty are doing. So let's talk about, how have you specifically partnered with faculty in other aspects of your work? So I know a lot of you wear many, many hats throughout a day, throughout a week, and sometimes in a brief moment. There are lots of hats that a lot of you wear. But in your work, whether that's student success related or not, in what ways have you partnered with faculty, or what ways have faculty partnered with you in what's taking place at your institution? Okay, thank you for adding in the chat, providing tutoring themselves, connecting them with existing campus tutoring services and partnering with us to collaborate. Thank you for that addition. So providing a forum for faculty to connect across colleges, that's great. Talk about breaking down silos, right? Sharing resources, grant writing, oh yes. Create a dialogue through the use of early alerts. Okay, to show we're reaffirming many things they're already doing. That reminds me of that close the loop system where a faculty member could submit a early alert and they may not know what happened after that alert was sent in. So to offer some affirmation about, yes, the early alert was received, yes, the student received support, I would imagine would support that faculty member in completing or submitting additional early alerts in the system for sure. Surveys to understand what kind of support faculty need in order to maintain and improve online tutoring. I gotta say, it sounds like you all have some amazing faculty champions at your institutions. Bringing in speakers for awareness campaigns that connect with classroom learning. Wow. Partnerships with tutoring to help students try online tutoring, presentations for points, etc. Okay. And then providing data to inform co-requisite developmental course and placement design. Now, these faculty that you're highlighting, I am wondering if these are some of your go-to champions of faculty members or faculty members that you have great buy-in with. I'm wondering how you could support the faculty who are already engaging with you in your work, how they could be voices to elevate the need for additional faculty to become involved in student success efforts. Developing recommendations for non-academic supports. And bringing faculty into the conversation, I would imagine, would draw in some additional buy-in for faculty to become involved and see the role that they can play in student persistence and retention. Call me crazy, but I feel like every person has a role that they could play in the role of persistence and retention. And I believe faculty have a role that they could play as well. Faculty has provided class time when in person on campus to discuss our non-academic supports to make sure students are aware. Yes, aware of what's available to them. There was another webinar that we had, I want to say probably the end of 2020. And one institution said that it is a student's right to be able to access the supports that are available to them. That's what this comment reminds me of. So faculty are doing amazing things. And I wanted to offer the opportunity for us to highlight what faculty are doing. As we venture forward in our conversations, I feel like it could be easy for us to look at the deficit of ways in which our colleagues may or may not be involved in student success efforts. But I feel like if we are able to highlight what is happening, it's less likely that we might drown in the muckiness of breaking down silos. Okay, so the last prompt as we celebrate faculty is, what do you appreciate about faculty? What do you appreciate about faculty? I've had prior experience at a four-year institution, and one thing that I was always appreciative of was faculty not being afraid to walk across the room to another colleague and say, hey, I don't know what to do in this situation. What resources might you be able to share with me? I was always very appreciative about those faculty members. A willingness to adapt. Yeah, that's a great one. I also appreciate those faculty who are able to walk across the room, whether or not a student needs support, seeing a faculty member connect with a student and just ask, how was your day? Faculty being willing to develop and build and cultivate relationships with students. I see here there's a willingness to innovate, especially in the times such as these. The ones that are willing to do the extra work always show up to help. Yeah, you're right. Generosity in their time to make sure students succeed. Yeah, because it does take a lot of time and a lot of work. One thing that I would hope is for additional faculty to become engaged in this work so that we could all share the load that is supporting students. And we wouldn't want one single person or a small group of individuals to bear the weight that can come with this work. I see here that they are on the ground performing the central functioning of the college. We are here to support and encourage them and their students to optimize success. Great investment in students, so a willingness to be flexible as well as provide collaborative solutions. Collaboration is key. Sounds like more communication and more relationship building to me. So much can be found in those two things, collaboration and in communication. Lifelong learning mentality to examine biases and support equity holistically. Okay, the person that submitted that, you guys are on to something. I love that. Lifelong learning mentality to examine biases and support equity holistically. Because I would like to suggest that none of us have arrived just yet. There's always room for growth and improvement, and there's something that we can all always learn. Willingness to collaborate with other areas in the college to best support students. There's collaboration again, one of my favorite words. Relationship building is one of my top 5 strengths. Empathy, developer, individualization, restorative, and harmony are my top 5 Clifton strengths. Fun fact about me. Okay. All right, so let's see what our next prompt is. So here, I am asking where your institution is in the area of faculty engagement. Everyone at this table, let's call our Zoom a table today, is in a different area of supporting faculty and becoming more engaged in this work. So I'd like to offer a visual through the help of a Mentimeter for us all to see where we are collectively, and to also highlight that none of us are alone in the work that's taking place and the work that we hope will take place. So there are 4 areas that you could possibly fit into. One of them is our institution wants to help faculty understand student challenges. Not all faculty see the role they can play in addressing student needs. Our institution has attempted to unite academic and students' affairs in the past. And this is the first time our institution has looked to intentionally unite academic and student affairs. So where would you say your institution is? I'd also like to highlight the willingness that you guys are bringing to participate and engage today. Everyone has been in Zooms over the last year, and you all are still here showing up and participating. And so I do appreciate that. So the first 2 buckets are currently tied. Our institution wants to help faculty understand student challenges, and not all faculty see the role they can play in addressing student needs. If you feel like you fit in all buckets, that's okay. We're all somewhere in the journey to supporting faculty and engagement. If you would add a different bucket, you could add that in the chat. I'm hoping that the resources shared today would begin to move your institution forward in supporting additional faculty becoming engaged in this work. Okay, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So let's start diving in and talking about what you feel the role of a faculty member is. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of you wear many hats, and faculty members also wear a lot of hats. But if you could isolate one or more particular things that you feel a faculty member is responsible for, or what you think their role of a faculty member is, this might give us a great springboard for our conversation. Because if we can identify what the role of a faculty member is, then we could better identify our ask, but also better communicate our ask. So what's the role of a faculty member? Could we agree that providing students with a comfortable or healthy environment, a safe environment, could be a role? Guidance, yes. Advocate, support students academically. These are power words, guys. Guidance, advocate, and support students academically. Helping students develop through multiple forms of learning and growth. Understanding the pedagogical approaches that foster learning and equity of outcomes. There is so much in that statement. Thank you for offering that. Helping students develop through multiple forms of learning and growth, and then understanding the pedagogical approaches. Mentoring. Faculty are our frontline workers. Wow, yeah. They need enough support to help students connect with campus resources. Because if we're looking at any individual who has the most interaction or face time with students, I would imagine it would be our faculty. Collaborate with areas outside of their own to break down silos. So faculty have some power then as well to break down these silos. Content expertise, but so much more. Connection, equity, safety, etc. To support and encourage student success by creating a safe and supportive holistic learning environment. Yeah. So if we think about the role of a faculty member, how could we connect this with their increasing engagement? Perhaps it's highlighting to the faculty member that this is the role that I see you playing and I'm appreciative of it. And I'm wondering if um, the role that you play as a mentor would support us in our my best efforts to ensure that all students have access to basic needs. And perhaps this is a question you could ask your faculty member. What do they feel their role is? That would be a good question to add in the chat. What do faculty feel that their role is? And how can the faculty stating what their role is and what you feel their role is there room for those two roles to meet? Could they combine in any way? I see another response here. It's an ever-evolving role that cannot be easily encompassed. Societal changes have necessitated the need for adaptable faculty to support and encourage student success by creating a safe and support. Okay, yeah, holistic environment. Educator, both in their own classroom. They're scrolling through on my end, so I can't read it immediately. And the students broader higher ed experience. Yeah. Okay. There's one additional prompt. Let's go to the next question. What do you wish faculty would do? From the previous prompt, it sounds like they're doing quite a bit, but we all know that there could be some room for improvement. So what do you wish faculty would do? Nothing? They're doing everything perfectly. We're all perfect here. Equitable grace and kindness to students. See each student as a fresh new opportunity for success. See their role in student retention and outcomes. Remain optimistic and engaged over the challenges of enrollment fluctuation. Work collaboratively with all areas of campus to support student success in and outside the classroom. Learn more about issues that cause student challenges and effective responses. Could you highlight effective in the chat? Learn more about issues that cause students and effective responses. Just iron out what an effective response would look like for receptivity from your students. Increase communication to us regarding non-academic student challenges. Sounds like a team approach is needed. Connect with their cross-college partners and university partners to align curriculum and get new ideas for instruction and student support. I wish they would familiarize themselves with all the support services we have to offer. Yeah. Feel empowered, prepared, and supported to effectively connect students to the services they need. So it might be a good idea to write down what it is that you wish faculty would do. Perhaps this is the beginning of a continuum that you are developing for your institution. So if you want to, if you wish for faculty to feel empowered, prepared, and supported to effectively connect students to the services they need, that would be a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And perhaps you would begin to measure how close you feel faculty are getting to what it is that you wish that they would do. and identify ways in which you can support faculty in that incremental change to getting to that goal or that thing that you wish faculty would begin doing. So it sounds like you all just wrote down a goal that you have for your faculty and you didn't know it. Good job, guys. There's your goal for your faculty. Okay. That's at the end. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. I am going to ask for some feedback at the end of our conversation today. I am now venturing over back to the PowerPoint slide. Sorry, guys, this Zoom isn't doing what I'm asking it to do. Okay. So it sounds like there's some room for improvement for faculty, and I would like to offer some resources, some strategies, and some things for you all to begin thinking about as you support faculty in becoming more engaged in student persistence, student retention, becoming more supportive advocates for students, supporting faculty, and further connecting with students for basic needs supports that the student might need, supporting faculty and becoming mentors to additional students, and everything that you all highlighted, excuse me, during the Mentimeter. And so as we think about faculty becoming more engaged, I thought it might be appropriate for us to talk about the stages of change, because none of us just arrive. There are some things that take place prior to our arrival. And I believe that if we can identify where a faculty might lie in the stages of change, it would offer us an opportunity to support them where they are. The stages of change is a model from motivational interviewing. And even though supporting faculty could be looked at from a systems perspective, it sounds like most of us are talking about an individual connecting with someone one-on-one. And so the stages of change may be appropriate for us to begin talking about. So at the very beginning of change, everyone starts at pre-contemplation. If you think about some way that you might have changed over the last year, over the last quarter, maybe even over the last week, you might have started in pre-contemplation as well. I know I was in the area of pre-contemplation when I was thinking about becoming a vegetarian. And so when you are in pre-contemplation, you are in a state of unconsciousness in the sense that you are unaware that a change is needed. So you just don't know. And for some faculty, they might not know that they need to change. They might not be aware of the role that you're wanting them to play. And so the best thing that could be done for a person in pre-contemplation is to educate them and support them in identifying what it is that they don't know, because we don't know what we don't know, and it's hard to hold someone accountable for something they're not aware of. The second stage is contemplation, and that is when we are more conscious of what is needing change. We're aware of what's happening to us. We're aware of how we're showing up. We're aware of how we're presenting. And so we begin to contemplate whether or not changing is something we will do or won't do. Preparation is the next stage, and that's when we begin to actively identify what it is that we're going to do so that change can occur. And the best things that we could do when someone is in contemplation and preparation is support them in asking those questions, answering questions that they have, and then supporting them in developing a plan for change. The next stage is action, and that is when a faculty member would actually add the resources on their syllabi, for example, or submit 3 early alerts one semester instead of none. And so during those opportunities, we want to encourage faculty that what they're doing is seen, recognized, heard, valued, appreciated. And perhaps that would be a great opportunity to share how their actionable steps are supporting their student body, and the university as a whole. I know when I am encouraging my 5-year-old to eat his food, he is more apt to take an additional bite when I praise him for the bite he just took. So how can we offer additional praise to our faculty? The next stage is maintenance, and that is when the faculty member would maintain the syllabi statement of resources throughout the additional semesters. And we want to support faculty in maintaining the change that they've made and continuing to answer any questions that they might have. And the last stage is relapse, and that would be returning to what was familiar. Now, relapse is an interesting stage because oftentimes there's a triggering event that would cause someone to relapse. And for this instance, there could be a reason why something happened that would cause a faculty member to no longer add that syllabi statement of student resources. So perhaps you would ask that faculty member, what happened that caused you to no longer want to or have a desire to support the work of student success? Perhaps it was just a miscommunication, for example. So think about the stages of change as you begin to work with your faculty. Okay, this is another strategy or resource that you could use. This is called the 4 Ps. So if you were in the fall during your faculty development days, this could be an activity that you do. Take a large sheet of paper and separate the paper into columns, and those 4 columns would be project, purpose, particulars, and people. The project would be my best, or the project would be the goal that you listed during the Mentimeter. And then you would identify the purpose. So what's the purpose of my best, or what's the purpose of becoming an advocate for students? And then you would ask faculty, or you would share with faculty the particulars about the project, my best, or the particulars about student persistence and retention. What ways could what you're asking them to do, how would that impact them? How would it affect them? And in what ways would it impact what they're doing inside or outside of the classroom? Some faculty might want that spelled out for them so that they can understand the ask, but also give you some feedback on what they feel comfortable doing. And then outline the people. So who's involved? Why are they involved? How long are they going to be involved? This strategy could be really helpful because it gives you all an opportunity to begin to communicate and iron out some disconnects that they might have or that you might have. It also irons out everyone's role. One question that I always ask myself when I'm doing a project or when I'm collaborating is, what is my role here? Or what is our role as Michigan Center for Student Success? Because if we can understand what our role is, then we can carry it out and we're not crossing the lines, and we can then hold ourselves accountable. But then ironing out my role allows for other people to hold me accountable because of the role that I am responsible for playing. So some additional strategies would be for getting buy-in for faculty is to create trust on how the data is gathered. All of you were able to receive the data results from the Student Financial Wellness Survey. Perhaps it would be helpful to share with them the process that you took to distribute the survey, the number of students that responded to the survey. Having or supporting faculty and understanding how data is gathered allows for them to be sure that the information shared is something that is solid. It's something that they can put their trust into. That might be helpful for some faculty who might be more analytical or who like to see the numbers. Support them in understanding how that data is gathered. The next strategy is to provide faculty with evidence to see their efforts made a difference. So if one faculty member went from 0 to 3 submissions in the early alert system, perhaps you shoot them an email, or maybe there's a report that you could run of all of the students who submitted an early alert, the number of those students who were retained the following semester, or those number of students who were able to transfer to another institution. That would support faculty in knowing that, hey, you know what, I do have a role. My role is seen, valued, and heard, but it also makes a difference. And then support faculty in formal and informal ways. So if faculty are supporting students inside and outside of the classroom, what ways could we support faculty inside and outside of the classroom? Are there additional trainings that we could offer? Maybe it's just grabbing a donut because you know that that's their favorite, or asking, hey, would you like an additional coffee? Assuming that we'll all be in person during those faculty trainings in the fall. But how can you support faculty and let them know that they're seen, heard, and valued? Help faculty to see how my best practices will impact them. That goes back to the 4 Ps. And then give faculty choices on what they want to implement in their learning spaces. I feel that if faculty are given a choice, then they could be more apt to participating or engaging or having some buy-in, because it's not, you have to do this. It becomes, I want to do this, and this is what I'm choosing to do. It also goes with rolling with resistance. It's another motivational interviewing strategy. Now, this is a strategy that could be shared tomorrow. I hope that I am able to offer some strategies for event participants to implement right away. And so this could be one of those. Excuse me. Validate, appreciate, and respond, VAR. Validate, if a faculty member is engaging with a student, one thing that they could do is validate the information that the student shared. Thank you for sharing that information. I know it might be hard to ask for help. I appreciate you asking for help. Validate the student, and then appreciate that the student asked for help, and then respond to the student with resources. So if a faculty member is struggling with, I don't know how to connect with students, and I don't know what to do if a student is bringing a challenge to me, these would be the 3 things that a faculty member could do. Validate the student, appreciate the student asking for help, and then respond to the student with resources. Now, I know someone had mentioned, well, faculty don't know about those resources. You're right, they might not know. So if we're asking faculty to have a syllabi or add a list of resources in their syllabi, perhaps we could add resources in the faculty syllabi for those faculty trainings. Or maybe it's an email once a quarter. These are all of the resources available for students this quarter or this semester, or just a reminder email of all of the ways in which faculty could support students in connecting with resources to help them. And here I have an engaging faculty continuum. This could be something that you do as a My Best team. I will share the slide deck with you so you have this rubric set for your use. But I thought it might be helpful to break down specifically where it is you would like to see some growth within your faculty. Is it within the area of critical mass building? And asking additional faculty to become more aware of supports, become more involved, and become leaders within this work? Is it quality building, supporting faculty members in offering or being aware of additional supports, and having a strong understanding or interest in supporting student needs? Or is it in the area of sustained institutionalization? Are you looking to support faculty in maintaining that change that we mentioned earlier and talking about the stages of change? So this could be something that you complete as a My Best team, or perhaps it's just helpful as some self-reflection to support us in seeing some change and some growth. I know, at least for me, it takes me a while to change and come around to something. But if I can identify the incremental growth, then it is motivating for me to continue to push forward. So perhaps that could be the same for you. It might be helpful for you to just know that no, faculty aren't submitting early alerts every semester all the time, but they are supporting, or they are submitting more now than they were before. So this is a rubric that will be shared out with you. So we do have a couple of minutes to go into breakout groups. I wanted to save some time for you all to connect with each other. So the two prompting questions that you could ask in your groups is, how have you engaged faculty at your institution? What's happening at your campus? And what's working for you? What's not working? In what ways would you like to improve faculty engagement? Perhaps this would be a great time to offer some strategies across the table. So I didn't mention this to Erica, but Erica, would you be able to support me in getting everyone into random breakout rooms? Everyone had a successful breakout group. And if you are interested in sharing your contact information, I welcome that, encourage that. There are some individuals who are moving the needle in the area of supporting faculty engagement. And they shared their contact information with me and said that it would be okay if I shared it with you all. If you are looking for a touch point person to connect with, St. Clair County Community College, Gogebic, and Macomb are three institutions who said, yes, I am willing to support my colleagues across the state in this area. So you will have access to their information once the slide deck is shared with you all, and it will also be posted on our website. So now we will go back to the Menti meter. I would love to get some feedback about today's conversation and how whether or not this would be a topic for us to explore and dive into further. So I'm going to venture back over to the Menti. Feedback on today's session. I learned of an idea that can foster institutional unity. I would like another webinar on this topic. I would like one-on-one support with engaging faculty, and I would like to be a mentor to help other institutions in this area. Okay, you can continue to post your votes. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint slide. There are a few other things I'd like to share before we conclude today. So here is a timeline of all of the events for this year. I just wanted to draw your attention to the event on May 5th from 3 to 4. We were initially planning for this event to be facilitated by Public Policy and Associates to go over the focus group protocol, and the institutions who facilitated those, who had the focus groups facilitated with their students. This event has been canceled. I am very aware that there is a lot happening at your campuses with Futures for Frontliners and Reconnect, and wanted to be respectful of your time, but also wanted to offer those who are unavailable at this time with end of semester, summer enrollment, and things like that, offer an opportunity for more individuals to attend. So this event has been rescheduled for September 15th, and it is reflective on our website. So you can register for September 15th. Next steps would involve project leads to, if you haven't yet already, to schedule your coaching call with National Center for Inquiry and Improvement. If engaging with faculty is an area that you would like additional support, help in, that would be a great topic to bring up with NCII. We also have MCSS mentors who have been and are continuing to reach out to colleges. But if you would like to become a mentor, I ask that you shoot me an email and I would love to plug you in. You don't have to be an expert in everything. You don't really have to be an expert in any of it. But if you feel that you would be able to offer some valuable support and to support another institution in knowing that they're not going at this alone, then you qualify for being a mentor. We also have a reminder for faculty development days to make sure that you are encouraging and inviting your adjunct faculty to participate, but also to share the information and the resources during those faculty development days. Now would be a great time to begin planning those out. And then the next scheduled event is Wednesday, May 12th from 11 to 12:30. We're going to be covering student resilience in my role. So if you know of some faculty that you would like to encourage to attend, this would be a great event for them to participate in. I can't end any good webinar without some self-care questions, because as we care for students, it's important for us to also care for ourselves. So instead of a self-care activity, these are more so self-care questions. So perhaps you would ask yourself, when are you at your best? And then think about how can you do that more often so that you can be at your best. Think about something you will do for yourself today. And then you could also think about how you will show yourself compassion today. So I leave you with choosing at least one of those self-care questions to begin to pour into yourself as you are pouring out to so many of your colleagues and your students. Remember to join us on Twitter and LinkedIn. There's always something amazing and crazy and fun happening. And it's also a great opportunity to connect with your colleagues across the state. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. And thank you for joining us. We are hereby concluded, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thanks, everyone.